Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. We'll offer a hearty welcome to one and all Rotarians and visiting guests. This is our second monthly meeting for the month of November. A special welcome to our guest speaker today, Ms. Debra Lowe, who will hopefully provide us with some information and insights on the Rotary Foundation. Now turning it back over to you, moderator for today, Rotarian Nadia.
Great. Good afternoon, everyone. And thank you for sharing your lunchtime with us. Welcome to the Rotary Club of Nassau, the first Rotary Club in the Bahamas. And this November is Rotary Foundation Month, Public Image and Road Safety Month. And we are excited to have our speaker join with us today, as President Michael said, to share some insight on the Rotary Foundation. So just to walk you through a few of the agenda items today, we'll have some toasts, we'll have some updates and some welcomes. And of course, we'll get into the meat of the whole meal, our presentation from Debra Lowe. Okay, so we're looking forward to the start of it all. Before we start anything off, we will have a Rotary Grace. I will put it up on screen, and that will be done by Rotarian Melvin Seymour.
Okay. Good afternoon to all. And let us pray. Father, we come to you today asking for your guidance, wisdom, and support as we begin this meeting. Help us to engage in meaningful discussion. Allow us to grow closer as a group and nurture the bonds of community. Amen.
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 And so now coming with the
Okay, seems like Nadia might be a bit frozen there. So we will call on Rotarian Dana to give the loyal toast. Dana?
Oh.
Hi, I'm here. It was paused for a brief second. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Join me in the toast to Rotary around the world.
Rotary around the world.
To the Queen.
To the Queen, to the Queen.
To the Queen.
Excuse me, it's because I'm drinking water. I'm
We're
sorry.
in a Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
It's because of water. To the Queen of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
So
I'm
that's water?
sorry.
Commonwealth of the
I need
Bahamas.
something
Commonwealth of
simple.
Thank you.
Hey.
that is not a problem.
Good
All right.
Good
And
stuff. Good
so
stuff.
thank you on our faces today, and coming to give us more jokes and welcome and laughter is our Sergeant at Arms, Rotarian Wayne Miller.
Okay, let's hear it up. Let's hear it up. Let's hear it up. It is such an awesome opportunity to once again be in the presence of my fellow Rotarians here at Nassau Club. Okay, of course, like you said, like you heard it said by our MC, this is one of the best places you can be. And we're just happy for all of our fellow Rotarians and our guests alike and our visiting Rotarians that you've taken time out to join us and to celebrate with us. Just another beautiful, beautiful day. And so we're just so happy. And as part of my duties, I like to always lighten the moment, break the ice, and let's have some one or two jokes going around and some jokes that were shared. And so before we get started, let me just say one or two things. Okay, good. So one of the jokes came and said, before you quit. Yes, hello?
I'll come to him.
Okay, Mr. Keno, you had something to say?
Sorry,
Okay,
sir.
go.
Good afternoon, everyone. Sorry, hello.
Okay, good. Good afternoon, sir. We can hear you. Okay, so this joke says, before you criticize someone, you should walk a mile in their shoes. That way, when you criticize them, you're a mile away from them and you have their shoes. Oh, that's a little funny one, you know. Not a funny one. Another one says here, say, and this for those persons who aren't married as yet. It says, before you marry a person, you should first make them use a computer with slow internet to see who they really are. You know, because them slow internet computer, and then of course you say one or two words, and you'll see whether or not they have any patience at all, at all, at all. And then finally here, I can't let my mommy hear me say this one. My mother, I can't let her hear me say this one here. But they say, this one says, when your mother asks, do you want a piece of advice? You know, it's really a formality, eh? Because it doesn't matter what you say. Whether you say yes or no, you're going to get that advice anyway. We know mom go, eh? Okay, good. And I trust that that lighten up your moment and make you feel welcome here at our Rotary Club, the Rotary Club of Nassau. And so we want to have an introduction of our visiting Rotarians. Any visiting Rotarians in the house? You have any visiting Rotarians? You know, we normally have some from way across the world.
Lindsay Cancino from East Club.
Okay, yes. Well, Cancino, it's always a pleasure to have you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing with us. And thank you again for sharing on Saturday with us with your wealth of knowledge. So impactful. No problem. Good. Any more visiting Rotarians? You don't have any more visiting Rotarians? Okay, do we have any guests of any of our Rotarians?
I see that.
Yes, good day, good day. Jillian Gray here, guest of Maxine Seymour.
Jillian, it's such a pleasure to have you once again. And you've joined us several times. You can't be no guest now, Jillian. You have to be a member by now. I mean, my buddy Maxine, ain't pull you in yet? Maxine is still waiting on her. Still waiting on her.
Go on, I guess.
Okay. Thanks, man. It's always a pleasure to have you, right?
Thank you.
Any more visitors in the house? What about any non-Rotarian visitors? Any non-Rotarian guest visitors? Okay, good. So if there be no more visitors and no more fellow Rotarians visiting, I guess we are all home. We are all in the place. And so we just want to say thank you. And before we go, we just want to collect our love offering, a love offering for all those who do not have their PIN. You have to have your PIN. Okay, you see my PIN that is proudly pronounced here. I'm proud to be a Rotarian. Come on, if you don't have a PIN, just raise your hand in the chat so that we can send you a nice little love note. I'm quite sure Sandra Walker will be more than happy. She will already have that note penned, and she will be more than happy to send it to you. Okay, so thanks again, guys.
Perfect.
We appreciate that. Okay, good. So back to you, Madam Moderator, Nadia.
I was just saying, Rotarian Wayne, I wonder if Sandra is working on her birthday. I don't think so.
Oh, okay, yes, but we can still play our birthday jingle for.
Right. Okay.
Absolutely not.
Okay, she's here. I tell you.
There's the birthday girl.
Hey.
Celebrate her in just a few. We can't wait to play the jingle. So to slide it over to our remarks and announcements, we will have our good president, Michael Wilson.
Just some brief remarks. With regards to the home painting project we have scheduled for Cat Island, we have that work tentatively scheduled for the 25th to 27th of November. I've shipped some paint materials to the island today. Any Rotarians interested in traveling and volunteering for this Cat Island initiative, please plan accordingly. Flights are weekly, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, Western Air. It's about $230 round trip. We're working on accommodations for you once you're on the island. Also, the annual Rotary Gala is tentatively scheduled for the 30th of November. This will be a virtual event, as was the case last year. Of note, any Rotarian interested in a Paul Harris Award, a personal donation of $500 will be matched by the district, enabling you the attainment of the $1,000 threshold. Submittals for, if you're going to make this request, are required urgently as time is of the essence, and we should get that information within the next week. There's also initiative going on with Dunkin' Donuts with one of our local clubs. For the 12th, 19th, and 26th, we'll have live promos with DJ Naughty at East Street South, Palmdale, and Carmichael locations respectively. We have special donuts that are being made with the Rotary logo, and these are available at all Dunkin' Donuts locations. Part proceeds of the donut sales will benefit the Rotary Foundation. And finally, coming up later this month, the White Ribbon Road to Peace initiative is still ongoing. That's scheduled for the 29th of November. And they're hoping to generate funds to assist with this through the sale of white ribbons. Hopefully, we have a couple of members from that committee available, and we may try and fit them out in with one of the remaining meetings of this month to make a presentation to the club. That ends my remarks. Turn it back over to you, Nadia.
Thank you so much, President Michael. Okay, and so I will gladly turn it over to our secretary, our wonderful secretary. She's amazing, Ms. Chantel Nesbitt.
Hey, good afternoon, fellow Rotarians and guests. So for the secretary's update today, thank you all so much for attending the session on Saturday. The membership committee has also sent out a survey. They would really like to know how members are thinking, what they're feeling. Are there any, good points or bad points about Rotary Club of Nassau, so that we know how to move forward. Cat Island Club, I mean, you're new to the team as well. We'd appreciate any feedback that you may have, so that we can use that to help grow as a club. It was sent out by email and was also put into the chats as well. As our moderator said, this is Foundation Month, and the Foundation Committee, chaired by Catherine, has asked that the training session link be sent out. I know there are a couple of persons who are saying they're having difficulty getting in. If you are, let me know. I can always see if I can resend it, because every now and then they do updates, and sometimes that might affect the link. But we would like for you to do the training, just so all of the members can have a good understanding of what Foundation is. We got a good training session in with PAG Lindsay over the weekend, but it'll still be good for you to go and do the training. You can also get a certificate for doing the training. And then the last update, I will call on Sophia Walker at this point. She's a member of the Club Services Committee, and she has some information about some initiatives that they have going on coming up before the end of the calendar year. So Sophia?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so just quickly on two initiatives. President Mike touched on the first one, and that is the White Ribbon Day, which is a part of the Road to Peace. So we do have the form available to order the white ribbons to be worn on that day. The form will be circulated, and we also have a flyer that goes along with that initiative. So we'll circulate that, both of those together. The second initiative is the coastal cleanup. So we're still determining which location that we're going to use. Right now, we're between South Beach, Saunders Beach, perhaps Coral Harbor, for the beach cleanup, but the date for that is confirmed. It is December 11th. Some of you may remember Kerwin Mullings, who did a talk for us quite a few weeks back. He's going to be a part of that, specifically to collect the data from the beach cleanup. So we have that date confirmed, December 11th, and we are confirming the location. And once we do that, then we will put a flyer together so that you have information on the date, the time, the location, and what you need to bring. Because obviously when you do a beach cleanup, you have to bring some special gloves so that you don't mess up your hands, certain rules, wearing clothes, shoes, things like that. So we'll circulate all of that information prior to the beach cleanup. So those are my updates, Chantal.
Thank you so much, Sophia. Back over to you, Nadia. Did we lose Nadia? Okay, well, we'll move on to the treasurer's report then. Sandra Laverne, you can give us an update from the treasurer then.
Hi, good afternoon, all. The treasury report says most of us are paid, but now we have a handful of persons that need to pay, literally a handful, and that part is very serious. It'll be a really good thing since you mentioned my birthday. You want to do that for my birthday? But that's pretty much it. For the most part, we're just waiting for a few more persons to pay because we need to do the sustaining membership. So that part is very serious for us. And that's it for the treasury report. Treasurer's report, sorry.
Thank you so much, Sandra. And so to talk more about our membership updates, we have Rotarians Lizette McKinney and Rotarian Keno McCartney.
Hey, Nadia, how you doing, man? Good to see all you Rotarians. Thank you, Nadia. Nice outfit you have on. I was looking for your Rotary pin, man. With that nice outfit you I just want to say that for the treasurer. That's all, just for the treasurer.
Noted. Duly noted.
You know, our treasurer don't miss nothing. But listen. On Saturday, those of you who were there on Saturday, we had an amazing day from 9:30 to 11:30 membership time. I just want to thank, and Lindsay's on, PAG Lindsay Cancino is on today. Thank you so much, Lindsay, for joining us, but also for being there on Saturday. PDG, Felix Stubbs did a great job. He did a powerful story on why he's a part of Rotary. I'm telling you, if you missed it, you missed a fantastic time. Watch the video, watch the recording, because you will really see the benefits of being a part of Rotary. And also our very own PIC Sheila Bethel, only Sheila could do it. Sheila had me making sure that I have my pin on, because it's not just a one moment thing, it's an everyday thing that you wear your pin. So thank you so much, Sheila. But listen, my responsibility is very simple. I come in, I talk about membership, and I'm excited to see what's happening in our membership. And as Chantel said, please take some time today. Thank you for those of you who already took the time and completed the survey. We really appreciate the effort that you're doing. So today, right after the meeting today, right after the parking lot, take about 5 minutes, 5 to 7 minutes, and give us your feedback on that survey. It's very important for us to make sure that our club will continue to grow. Now, we have some birthdays. Come on, let's get that birthday, get that birthday together. Sandra, put on your video. We want you to dance while we're doing the video. Sandra and John. Is John on? Rotarian John Christie. John, are you on today? And Laverne Major. John, Laverne, and Sandra. Either of them, are they on? Come on, I want to see that video. I want to see your video on. This ain't like Saturday when you're talking about it's too early for you to put the video on. It's the middle of the day.
Okay, good. Birthday
So
suit.
come on,
Let's put
get
it on.
Oh my God, no, keep it to your head. Keep it to your head.
Thank you.
Let's get the birthday song going. Come on now. We're going to celebrate Laverne, who is today. John Christine, of course, our very own Laverne Major. Come on, let's sing that song. We have it all ready to go. Come on, cue it up.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you. My birthday, come again. My birthday, come again. My birthday,
right, all right, all right. I just love that birthday song. It just puts some excitement. But ladies and gentlemen, enjoy your birthday. And of course, we expect some cake. Make sure that we get slices of cake to everyone, but make sure I send mine in the mail. I'm looking forward to it. Today, I'm excited. I'm excited because we have two very special persons. We have Robin Hayes and we have Senator, the Honorable Maxine Seymour as our buddy spotlight. So I'm going to turn it over for them to take their 2-3 minutes and talk about each other. Come on, Rotarian, Hayes, and Seymour. Let's hear from you all.
Okay, who goes first?
You can go on. You can go first.
Okay, right. First of all, whoever spelt my name with a Y got it wrong. Well, I'm just going to say a few words about Rotarian and Senator Maxine Seymour. I had a long chat with her, and she's a very interesting person and a very committed person, and a very hardworking person. Apart from being professional in marketing and communications, she is a full-time mum, a full-time politician, a full-time businesswoman, a full-time Rotarian, and a committed achiever, in my opinion. I never got around to her spare time because I suspect she doesn't have too much of that. As we all know, she was selected to sit for a seat in the last election, but sadly she did not make that. And since then, she's been appointed to the lofty heights of a senator. And on behalf of our club, I would also add all our congratulations on her achievement. She is a remarkable woman. She is a committed achiever, and I think we're very lucky to have her as a member of this club. Thank you. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, buddy. Robin is the one who's really amazing. He's being modest. He's been living in the Bahamas since his retirement, and our country is better off to have him here because he's been working with the once called Crippled Children's Committee, but now we're politically correct. So it's a physically challenged committee. And he's been making a contribution to really help children with physical disabilities in our country. And he also is actively involved with a children's charity in the UK that he was a part of starting 40 years ago. And he's still very actively involved in advocating and pushing for children there. He's been married for 53 years. I haven't even been alive for 53 years. So he got married years before I was even born, almost 10 years before I was even born. And so he and his wife live here and enjoy the good weather, but do still spend time at home, where I think he just came from recently, would have traveled there. Sometimes the kids get to visit here whenever they can. And of course, they enjoy their company whenever they come. He has had like a very interesting career. Like most people have mundane jobs like accountants and lawyers and insurance people and marketers, but he actually worked in the textile industry and manufactured, I guess, technical and industrial type materials, raw materials that they would use to make things like hot air balloons and bouncing castles. And before that, he was actually in military aviation. And so he's always had the fun stuff to do, in my mind at least. It definitely beats out my job, it sounds like. He likes music, enjoys music, and he's actually into computers. So that's his new hobby, into computers. Other than that, he leads a pretty much relatively quiet life, and it's really been good kind of sharing with him. And I hope that we could meet in person one day and really kind of get to know each other a bit more.
Yeah.
Wow, wow. Thank you very much, Rotarian, Cancedo, and Robin with an I. Robin with an I and Rotarian Maxine Seymour. We really appreciate it. That is what it's all about, getting to know fellow Rotarians. Thank you so much. And listen, you could be the next Rotarian Spotlight. Stay tuned, as we may be reaching out to you. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day, everyone.
All right, good day. I'm going to see now if Rotarian Zalika is on to provide the introduction of our speaker. Rotarian Salika? Okay, so if she is not here.
I am here.
I know she is here. So
I am here.
I will go ahead and introduce our speaker then. Okay, so Debra Lowe joined the Rotary Foundation in 2009 as the first major gifts officer on staff who lives within their assigned zone. She covers Zone 34, consisting of 14 Rotary districts, 3 in Georgia, 8 in Florida, and 3 in the Caribbean. The focus of her position is to enable Rotarians and non-Rotarians to fulfill their philanthropic goals of supporting the Rotary Foundation with a single gift or commitment of $10,000 or greater to the annual fund. Areas of focus: endowment fund, Polio Plus, or Rotary Peace Centers. In addition to being a staff member with the Rotary Foundation, Debra has been an active Rotarian for more than 15 years. She served as president of the Rotary Club of Kissimmee Bay in Florida from 2005 to 2006, and is currently a member of the Rotary Club of Lake Chattooga, did I get it correct? In North Georgia. In 2015, 2016, and 2017, Debra joined General Secretary John Hugo, colleagues and Rotarians from around the world to participate in Miles to End Polio in conjunction with the 106-mile El Tour de Tucson bicycle ride. Through the support of Rotarians and the 2-to-1 match from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the team raised more than $30 million towards our goal of a polio-free world. Debra lives in North Georgia along with her yellow Labrador, Luna. In addition to community service, through Rotary, she enjoys outdoor adventures, cycling, and the culinary and creative arts. Please join me in welcoming our speaker for today, Debra Lowe.
Thank you so much. It is a pleasure to be here, and I am going to share my screen. And while I do that, I just want to mention that I'm getting bumped off of the Zoom occasionally, and I've had to rejoin a couple of times. And so if I do get bumped off, I will go ahead and get back on. So let me go ahead and get myself organized here. Okay. So hopefully we'll get through this without any technical difficulties, but we all know that's part of the Zoom experience. I want to thank Sheila for this kind invitation, the opportunity for me to visit your club today and speak to everybody, and as we celebrate Foundation Month. And Sheila also invited my dog Luna, who is actually snoozing off to the side because she knows that she's not supposed to interrupt. So she sends her regards, Sheila. She's very happy to be here. I also would like to thank President Michael for allowing me to be your program today. But most of all, I want to thank all of you for your incredibly generous support and enthusiasm for the Rotary Foundation. I had asked Sheila when I looked at your club's fundraising analysis, the huge jump that you had in your giving to the foundation. From 2019 to 2020, you gave close to $7,000. And then this past Rotary year, you contributed more than $12,350. So I commend you for putting the foundation first, for being so proactive in your giving, talking about everybody becoming a sustaining member. Huge increase in membership, which during COVID times just really speaks to your efforts and the fact that you really are, as a club, just a viable and important part of your community. So I would be remiss if I did not say thank you to start everything off. And then also to commend your Bequest Society member and your 2 major donors, and also the 29 Paul Harris Fellows that you have awarded. So the mission of our Rotary Foundation is to enable Rotarians like you to advance world understanding, goodwill, and peace through the improvement of health, the support of education, and the alleviation of poverty. And we all know that we accomplish this by the expertise and compassion that all of you have who foster effective and sustainable projects around the world. But it's through our Rotary Foundation and your gifts to the Rotary Foundation that enable you and us to reach out to both our local and international communities, enriching and changing lives. And I also, before I get too far into this and start talking about numbers, just to preface it, of course, that any dollar amounts that I quote or costs in US dollars, just so I don't have to keep saying that, being cognizant of that. So one of the things that our organization is very proud of is that for the past 13 consecutive years, we have had a 4-star rating with Charity Navigator. And Charity Navigator is a watchdog, basically organization that really looks at all nonprofits in North America and evaluates them based upon what they're doing with the donations that they receive, the gifts that are entrusted into an organization. It also looks at administrative costs, how transparent we are in reporting our financials to our donors. So we are one of the few organizations that have ever been able to not only attain this top rating, but to be able to sustain it for so many consecutive years. So you have so much to be proud of in knowing that we are good stewards of your gifts to the foundation. We have also been named by the Association of Fundraising Professionals, which is an international organization supporting fundraisers around the world. And we've been named as one of the world's outstanding foundations. And CNBC has named us as one of the top 10 charities that are changing the world. So you have a great deal to be proud of in being a Rotarian and also supporting our Rotary Foundation. So this graph is our unaudited financials from this just concluded Rotary year. And we all know that, of course, we've been going on 19 months now of COVID and COVID concerns. And certainly as a gift officer, when everything kind of stopped in the world back in March of 2020, we all feared what would happen to our Rotary Foundation, what would happen to all of you as Rotarians and to our clubs. And yet we had a goal set for this past Rotary year of $410 million, and that's what we call the comprehensive fundraising goal. So it's every dollar that's contributed to our Rotary Foundation from around the world. The goal was $410 million. And at the end of June, this past June, you all had contributed more than $440 million. Just a phenomenal outpouring of support in a time when so many of us were uncertain in our personal lives. So many of us were just every aspect of our lives, our employment, our families, everything was really uprooted, yet everybody continued to support our Rotary. I believe Sheila had mentioned that. But if not, I didn't want to get too deep into it, but I'd be remiss if I didn't thank everybody for your continued support of Polio Plus and just give you a little bit of an update. I think we all know by now that the program began in 1985 and more than 2 billion children have been immunized and saved from the ravages of polio. There's 210 countries, territories, and areas around the world that are now polio free, thanks to your efforts and the success of our amazing
Okay, as our speaker said, there may be some issues. Let's just give her a moment as it comes back up.
Guess that's what happens when you move to the wilderness.
Yeah, Sheila, I feel that we probably already.
Are you able to see me
the
okay?
same thing.
Can you all see me okay?
You can see
Yeah, you're back, Deborah. Thank you.
I'm back. Okay. Let me try and share my screen again from the beginning. I don't know why I'm getting bumped off, but let's see. Let me get back here. Okay. Are you able to hear me and see my slide?
Yes.
Okay. So, so sorry about that. So going back to polio, of course, we've made amazing progress with only 2 cases reported this year. But one thing I do want to share is that the infrastructure that your gifts to Polio Plus help build are actually being used during times of COVID. We've used them for surveillance. We've used them to help educate people on the importance of sanitation, social distancing, all the training that our healthcare workers had to go about polio immunizations was pivoted and used during COVID. Same thing during the Ebola outbreak a few years ago. We were also able to utilize it for that. So the infrastructure that we've built and the training that we've provided is going to have a far-reaching impact long after we achieve our goal of a polio-free world. Talking a little bit about our Rotary Peace Centers. This is actually our second highest funding priority. And the Peace Centers was started in 2002 with the vision of creating sustainable peace by building networks of peace builders and community leaders dedicated to preventing and resolving conflicts. Our peace centers have trained more than 1,400 peace fellows to become effective catalysts for peace through careers in government, education, and international organizations. Each year we award 50 fellowships.
Oh.
We have universities in partnership with Duke UNC in the United States, in Tokyo, Japan, Bradford, England, Brisbane, Australia, Uppsala, Sweden, and we have certificate programs in Bangkok, Thailand, Kampala, Uganda, and we will be, thanks to a very generous gift from the Fran and Otto Walter Foundation, we will be establishing a Rotary Peace Centers in the Middle East in the near future. Last year, your club contributed more than $10,000 to the annual fund. And so I thank you for that, because this is really the fuel, the checking account that enables your club, your district, and clubs all around the world to carry out the programs and projects of your choosing that really have a sustainable impact locally in your communities and, of course, around the world. So I thank you so very much for supporting what is really the heartbeat of our Rotary Foundation. Gifts to our endowment fund are really a visionary gift, a commitment that's going to sustain our Rotary Foundation long after we're gone. It's going to enable Rotarians who come long after us to continue to do good in the world. The most popular way to support the endowment fund is by making a commitment in one's estate plan, which is, of course, bequest society or benefactor commitments. And we like to really feel that those people who leave these commitments in their estate plans are investing in the future of Rotary. So we're all familiar, of course, with our now 7 areas of focus, and we're very excited that we now have the environment as our 7th area of focus. And a little bit of background on how that came about. It was really in response to all of you. We found that many of the grants that were being submitted for the 6 areas of focus had some component in it that really would translate to the environment. And so listening to all of you, Rotarians and donors, the trustees voted to develop this 7th area of focus. And this is the first year where we're actually accepting grant applications. So it's going to be very exciting to see what projects come out of all of your ingenuity and your desire to really address problems. Off to the side, you'll see where it talks about sustainable goals. Our areas of focus are informed by and serve 15 of the 17 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. So we are really aligned with what the most critical needs are around the world. So when I talk about dollars that come in that are contributed, I think it's important to also show where those dollars go. And this chart shows the growth, the incredible growth that we've seen in global grant awards from 2014 to current. And it's because of all of you continuing A, to give to the Rotary Foundation, but B, to identify critical needs, sustainable projects, and going out and carrying those out. So you'll see that even during a COVID year, we had a tremendous jump in grants that were awarded. And I'll point out that $35 million of those grants were a pivot to the Disaster Response Fund so that all of you could carry out projects that were focused on COVID relief. The Disaster Response Fund was developed a few years ago by the trustees to enable Rotarians to give so that you could support natural disasters. We know that when there's a natural disaster anywhere in the world, Rotarians want to help. So that's what the purpose of the Disaster Response Fund was. But during COVID, the trustees pivoted it and actually moved money into that fund from the World Fund so that we can begin giving out $25,000 grants to districts for COVID-specific projects. And that included everything from sanitation items to personal protection equipment for hospitals, ventilators, but the overarching need that was addressed through a lot of these grants was food insecurity all around the world. So again, thank you so much for that. $35 million in projects carried out by all of you. So I always, when I talk to Rotarians, if I'm sitting down one-on-one, if we were sitting just together talking, I would ask you, what is it about our Rotary Foundation that really touches your heart? And it really is kind of a door opener for some very impactful conversations. So it may be something for all of you to just sit and kind of think about and then open it up for a dialogue amongst all of you. Sometimes people like to talk about, well, what is the most important area of focus? Is it water and sanitation? Because water is considered life. Is it education? Because how are we going to have an impactful, just society without educating our children? So it's always a great conversation. But this slide actually shows, just looking at the responses that we see from what's important to all of you, the breakdown of where those grant awards have actually been going. So I do want to highlight one area of focus in particular and just talk a little bit about some projects and show you the impact of your giving just to basic education and literacy. And this is impacts that have been had in this one area of focus through 2014 through this just completed Rotary year. So what you're looking at now at the top of the screen over to your right, you're going to see the global grants that were awarded, 1,246 grants for a total of nearly $80 million. And people always wonder, well, what are those grants doing? And this talks a lot about how broad the areas are in what you can do in any area of focus, really, in how you can choose a grant based on the need in the area and then implement it to really adjust that specific need. This shows you actually the grant funding. Again, you can see how it was on a growth curve, slight dip in 2018, but then you see a pretty dramatic dip in 2020. And again, that was because so many of the grants that were awarded during that Rotary year were addressing COVID-19. But you do see that we've actually gone back up in addressing this need. And I think so many of you will agree that this is a critical need all around the world. And when you think about that critical need, what are those dollars supporting? And so much of it actually is the teacher training to better equip our educators to serve our children. And then, of course, technology and training, so very important in our developing countries where they don't have access to so many of the things that that us, not only here in the United States, but certainly in the Bahamas, have access to on a fairly regular basis. So what I want to highlight is a couple of projects. This is a project that was done in Guatemala. It was a literacy project, and it leverages the proven approaches and complementary strengths of the partnership that was established since 1997 between Rotary clubs and the Cooperative for Education. They work to bridge Guatemala's educational gaps through reading, textbooks, technology, and life career skills training, which is really an interesting concept because not only were they doing the basic education of these students, but they were teaching them the life skills that ultimately have the potential to break the cycle of poverty that's so prevalent in this country. Another project I'll highlight is a project that was in Belize, which is the Literacy Adventure Camps. And again, this took kind of a unique approach. It was a Rotarian vocational training team of literary experts from Canada and Belize that came together to develop a series of enhanced educational experiences, activities, and resources for teachers, librarians, and parents in the Cayo Belize area. It was first implemented and evaluated with success in March of 2015, and that speaks to our focus on sustainability of our projects. This project underwent significant improvements and expansion, and in 2018, it was kind of reinvented to strengthen the sustainability of the effective approaches to literacy, and it included many local villages and communities. So when you think about the dollars that you give to the Rotary Foundation, and I always like to share the numbers, and certainly we had an exceptional year in giving, but and obviously as a major gift officer, gifts to the Rotary Foundation are near and dear to me, working with all of you. But what always amazes me, and the point I really like to drive home when I speak to clubs, is the impact that your gifts are having. You really are changing the world and you're changing your communities. And I'm sure all of you know it just in the local projects that you carry out. I'm sure you all know it in the impact that you have during these troubling times when so many people are in need. Our General Secretary, Hugo, pointed out at the beginning of COVID when we had a staff meeting and there was so much concern for all of you, we were all navigating our personal lives, and all of that was just mirrored over and over again as we talked with all of you. And General Secretary Hugo said something that's really stuck with me. He said at that time, Rotary was built for this. Rotary was built to come in during some of the most challenging times, always that a country or a community may face, but to come in during a global pandemic and be able to have an impact on the lives of so many people, to continue giving, to continue carrying out projects, and to continue finding a way to ensure that we didn't backslide. In fact, we made tremendous slides forward in immunizing and reducing the cases of polio. And a couple things just in closing with that. One of the reasons that we believe that there was such a low amount of cases during COVID, even though immunizations were paused, was due in part to the fact, of course, that people became very cognizant of hygiene and social distancing, plus people weren't out. Everybody was in lockdown, even in our developing countries. That helped, but it was also just the basic education that went in to making people more aware of the importance of vaccines and the importance of staying healthy. I'm also really pleased to share that the Taliban, I know there was a lot of concern about everything that's happened in Afghanistan over the past few months. The Taliban has recently approved for door-to-door immunizations to begin again. So that is underway, and we continue to be extremely optimistic, and we would not be here if it was not because of all of you. So in closing, I know we have a few minutes left, I believe, so I'll stop sharing my screen and turn it back over to our moderator, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much for that wealth of information. And so if there are any questions for Debra, could you kindly let us know? You can open up your mic.
I also have the chat box open if anybody prefers to type their question.
Hi, this is Secretary Chantel. Not necessarily a question that I have, but I do like the part of your presentation, where you're actually showing where the money goes. Because I must admit, we get that question a lot, about the fact that, okay, this is a part of my Rotary dues and what's happening with it. So, I like, seeing exactly where the money goes. And I think that would help persons, when they want to make up their mind or, if they want to make any additional contributions. So thanks for sharing that.
Well, and thank you for sharing that comment, because what I could do if you would like is we have a separate report that is not put out on, it's called our report of operations. It's a little more internal, but it really gets into the meat of where your gifts go and the sizes of the gifts that are received. And I'd be happy to email that to Sheila if she'd like, and she can look at it and share it with the club. It's not secret information, and it's just usually the average Rotarian doesn't have that much of an interest in it, but I'd be happy to share that with everybody.
Okay, thanks, Deborah. Just send it to me.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Are there any further questions for Deborah? We do have a comment in the chat from
I
Paige.
see that, Karen. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you. And so tips for approaching corporate donors. Oh, that's a good question. I can let me put something together on that, because I actually do have because someone else had approached me about how do we talk to corporate donors, and as a gift officer, I don't do a lot of it, but certainly we have some suggestions, and I can also send that to Sheila so she can share that with everybody.
Okay, she's saying thanks in the chat. All right, any other questions? But what that says is that it was a really great presentation, and we really enjoyed it. And so I guess I will turn it over to Rotarian Leticia Penn to give you the thanks.
Good afternoon, Rotarians. Thank you so much, Ms. Debra Lowe, for your kind words and highlighting projects that has changed the life of so many persons all around the world for the betterment of their lives. And for the financial breakdown on our financial gifts that goes towards 47 areas of focus. I can honestly say that you have renewed and encouraged so many of us to continue giving and volunteering. So once again, I thank you so much for bringing your remarks and for renewing our commitment to Rotary. Thank you.
Thank you.
Back to you, Nadia. Thank you so much. All right, and so we will move on now to our four-way test. And it goes, I can go ahead. Other things we think, say, or do. Is it the truth?
The truth.
The truth.
To all concerned.
Will it build
goodwill and better friendships?
Will it be
beneficial to all concerned?
And
will it be fun?
Yes, it will.
All righty. And so that is it for me. I graciously turn it over to, I believe, Secretary Chantel for the adjournment.
Yes, good afternoon again, Rotarians. Unfortunately, our president had to step away, but just before that, Rotarian Sandra Walks, if you want to give us the Rotary toast.
Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians. Please join me, lift your glasses in a toast to Rotarians around the world. Here.
Around the world.
Around the world.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you so much again, Deborah, for that great presentation. We foundation was one of those things, as our chairperson has said, Catherine, that, trying to get people to understand the concept of it. And, between Lindsay on Saturday and you today, I think we're getting, great information and better insight. So, we'll definitely have more Rotarians participating. So thank you again. Thank you for Rotarians for joining us today. And that concludes our meeting. But as Rotarian Keno has said, please, if you don't mind, just doing the membership survey so we can have some information that the membership committee to help use to build our club to make it better and stronger. Okay, so thank you all again. If you'd like to stay on for our parking lot, you're more than welcome to join us.
Good.
All right, Wayne.
You guys are going to be experts at this soon.
Over to you, Wayne.
Okay, good, beautiful, excellent. I am very, very pleased of the presentation that was made by Debra, Rotarian Debra Lowe. I think it really brought everything into perspective of exactly the enormity and the impact of Rotary. Rotary, and indeed, that's why we say Rotary around the world. We toast the Rotary around the world. She brought it right home. So I'm just so happy. Again, like you said, on Saturday, we had that was really enforced during that training on Saturday. And so we're happy to be a part of the Rotary and happy that we are making an impact, not only here in the Bahamas, but indeed around the world. Okay, so what are some of your most insightful portions of the foundation that you wish to share with us? Let us know. Who all we got on now?
I was gonna say our committee chair, Catherine, is on. Maybe she can get us started.
Yes. Yeah, Catherine, my buddy Catherine.
Hi.
Hi. Yes,
I
we
was
want to
just
hear your insight.
I was just about to go and have my lunch.
Yeah, well, that's good.
No, it was, the session on Saturday was actually really, really good. I got a lot from it. And then again today with Debra, that's some excellent information, because like Secretary Chantel said, a lot of persons are not aware of what happens to the funds, what goes to the foundation. They don't know what happens to it. So that really brought it home, telling them exactly what happens to the funds. Now, I'd also, give me either as the foundation chair that, we need to, as the committee, we need to come up with some really good stuff to actually be able to meet our goal for the year and exceed the goal, because the funds go to, good for a good purpose. Yes. So I think it was really, really insightful. And, right now it hit home, and so good information, excellent information.
And it was so good that the Rotary Club of Nassau did its party. We dropped our little 2 cents in a barrel as well.
Oh, you sure did. You sure did.
And it seemed as if it was very appreciative. And so Debra kept on reminding us. She kept on reminding us that that the contributions that we make or we've made went a long way and are going a long way to help them reach their goals. And so we are making our inroads as well.
Yeah, we've done pretty well with the foundation generally, but I think what we need to make a bit of focus on is polio. Our donations in that area are not so good. They're good, but they could be a lot better. And PAG Lindsay has just got his new initiative going. Lindsay, do you want to remind them about it again, or the ones that are still here?
Sure. We've started a Polio Plus Society in District 7020, and the objective is to try and get to 200 members this Rotary year. We're at 176, so we're close to that objective, but we would, by all means, love to have more people in Rotary Club of Nassau join the initiative. And all it is simply is $100 a year until we eradicate polio. And we have a target of 2026 to do that. There's a new strategic plan that's put into place starting next year. that will get us hopefully to zero. We are, as you will recall from the presentation on Saturday, we are very close to that as it is anyway, because this year we've only had 2 new cases, the last of which was recorded on January 26th of this year. So we're almost a year of no new cases of wild polio around the world. So very, very, very close. But in order to keep it there, we need the ongoing commitment and funds from Rotarians to make sure that we eradicate the disease. So welcome your participation.
Good,
Thank
that's
you,
excellent.
Lindsay.
Do you see, Lindsay, do you see now we deal with COVID, which is also a major threat to the world. You see some move afoot, maybe to deal with COVID in a similar fashion as we would have tackled polio?
Well, we're already involved in COVID. One of the points I think that Debra brought out was the increase in the number of global grants, and a lot of that was centered around the response to the COVID pandemic. So we went from 1,300, for example, 2 years ago to over 2,000 this past Rotary year. So that's quite an appreciable jump in grants. And a lot of it, as I say, was due to the COVID response. And because of the infrastructure, quite frankly, that was built over the last 35 years with the polio eradication effort, it enabled us to better assist in that effort as it was. We have vaccines against COVID, so there's nothing to stop us from continuing to use that same platform as we do delivering the vaccine for polio. But you know, what we're going to do after the polio fight is won is probably the most asked question I get as an EPNC. But the short answer is we're not thinking about that yet. We need to get this task done and make sure that we keep that promise to the children of the world to eradicate polio, and then we'll figure out what's next.
Excellent. Good stuff. Good response.
Yeah, but Lindsay, there's a lot of concern out there. I'm not amongst the general run of the mill Rotarian, I guess, but in the kind of higher ups, that once polio is done, that we're going to lose a lot of support from not only Rotarians, but, you know, kind of major entities that give money to Rotary. So I'm, you know, surely there must be something that they're looking at. You know, I mean, 2026 isn't that far away.
Yes, but again, I, you know, it's not being shared with us if there is.
No, I didn't know if you'd heard any rumors. Yeah, I didn't know if you'd heard any rumors at all. But.
No. I mean, I can tell you this, Sheila, that we are being lobbied, and Debra can support me on this as well. We are being lobbied by every cause that you can possibly imagine.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Because of the success of the polio fight, and the involvement of people like the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation with Rotary. So we won't have any shortage of things to choose from, I can assure you.
No, I realized that. I was just curious. But I mean, I think the thing that proved how efficient and how well organized we are overall is how we were able to pivot and utilize that same infrastructure that was dealing with the polio vaccine, and you know, kind of pivoted around to COVID. I mean, it just shows that the overall work is just solid. You know, it's been well thought through, and it's a well-oiled machine.
And even more than that is the one that, thank God, never became a pandemic, and that is Ebola. One of the reasons that Ebola was contained is because of the polio infrastructure.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
The world doesn't really know that story, but that's a fact.
Yeah, perhaps that's something that we should tell people a bit more about, actually.
Yeah, well, we were neck deep in the fight to eradicate polio in Africa, which is where Ebola took off. And
Yeah.
Because that infrastructure was there, we were able to utilize the same thing in order to stifle the spread of that virus, thank God. And give science a time to find solutions for the Ebola virus, and they thankfully did.
Yeah, that could have been horrendous if they hadn't. It's
Excellent stuff, man. Excellent stuff. Thanks so much for chiming in, Lindsay. Thanks so much, Sheila. I think.
No problem.
Yeah, we
It's
all
just
enjoyed.
a pleasure to see and hear Debra. She and I have worked together in the foundation stuff for, good God, must be 15 years or more. So it's a pleasure to see her and hear her speak.
Yeah, I thought it would be interesting because she always has all that, kind of information at her fingertips. And I thought, having had people asking me questions about what happens to our money, I knew that she'd have a lot of answers out there. So.
Right.
Anyhow, it was nice to see all of you. And I've got the very unfortunate task of talking to the Cat Island Satellite Club on Thursday about foundation after you two guys. So.
You can steal some of their slides.
Should be a piece of cake now.
Shush, you think I hadn't thought of that? Okay, guys. Anyway, goodbye.
Okay.
Nice to see you all.
Yes.
All right, good seeing
All
you.
right, take care.
All the best. Y'all have a
All right, take
beautiful
care,
week now.
everyone. Bye.
Bye.